Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Saturday morning edition of, and the only edition of, actuality, of In No Particular Order, with, of course, our Instagram influencer Shannon, which you can find at Americana_Allen. And I suggest that you do that right now, if not sooner. And Kyle Sinra says, who, if you guys have any questions about anything regarding sports, I'm going to say sports. I know for sure that it's anything regarding football because that's all I really care about is NFL football. And CFL, I don't care about it, but I know that he knows so much about it. I would care about it, but we don't get it, Shannon. You can ask Kyle. I don't know if this is okay because I never asked him if it's okay, but I don't care. Go to his DMs, and
yeah, DMs are open for sure. I love helping out people.
He puts out like content that's just like I think I do a lot of research. Morning, Jamie. I think I do a lot of research, and then Kyle comes up with this, what was it, goal line bullshit, and I'm like, the fuck?
I call it the goal line guy, but yeah, goal line bullshit too. Probably it's mostly all it is.
I'm like, what the? So I'm doing basically nothing. Thank you, Kyle. I feel useless once again.
Well, to be fair, that's mostly the only research I do is that. But it's also I have to do that research because the stuff like team efficiency inside the five, both offensively and defensively, I can't find that anywhere. So I've got to manually go to game logs and track it all myself because I literally cannot find this information. So if someone else wants to do it in a more efficient way, gladly,
Are you guys listening to this?
For sure.
Because that's what's happening. I use it liberally, and I'm not gonna lie.
Glad to help. That's there for again. I wanted this stuff for me, and I hope, and I find it helps me, so I hope it helps others as well.
Tony Pollard 5 touchdowns this weekend.
And then he'll use them all up and not get any the rest of the year.
That's okay.
Start him this week. If you have Tony Pollard, this is the week to start him. The Panthers are awful.
In the same league, I had Joe Burrow and Mark Andrews. So yes, I'm all here for Tony Pollard 5 touchdowns.
And it's mostly because teams think that the Panthers are bad against the run, so they just run on them. So ultimately, the Panthers just get a ton of rush attempts against them.
They're just bad.
You already talked about the goal line guide. I'll plug a little bit of information for some people. So one of the things, again, I do is I track every team's rush and pass attempts inside the 5 and how often they score touchdowns. So I get a percentage on that. But I also do it defensively. How teams are allowing how many touchdowns on, again, the rush attempts against them in the pass attempts, but all inside the 5. Teams have run 30 rush attempts against the Panthers inside their own 5-yard line. The next closest is the Giants, and it's like teams have run 20 times inside the 5. Teams are just purposely just throwing, okay, we get inside the 5, let's just run on them because we assume we're going to score every time. Now, the Panthers, as a result of just how many attempts they have, their efficiency is not bad. 12 touchdowns, which does lead the league. No team has more goal line touchdowns allowed than the Panthers, and then the second is the Giants, and a lot of that is basically because teams just run so many attempts. The efficiency isn't the best. The Seahawks are the worst. 88% touchdown rate allowed. 7 rushing touchdowns on 8 carries inside the 5 they've allowed. So if you've got a running back playing the Seahawks and they get inside the 5, they get that ball, it's almost guaranteed to be a touchdown. So
super high ceiling today, folks, or tomorrow.
I have Darrell Henderson as RB20 this week. And fantasy, every time I go to update my rankings, Fantasy Pro still asks me, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" It's yes, I am. I kind of like seeing it when I'm convicted about a player because yes, I think there's an edge here that not a lot of other people have seen. So I hope that moves me up in the rankings because I've been awful this year for most weeks.
Yeah, that's why. I'm on 2 sites that say, "Hey, why don't you rank for Fantasy Pro?" And I'm like, "Hey, because I don't like seeing my name on the bottom of the list." I don't know. It's kind of a pride thing. I don't want to see my name going.
Look at that. I'm 198th this week.
Morning, Jesse Patterson. Okay, so anyway, as I was telling the boys, I might hop off early because I might if I feel the need to do something have fluids come from my body in an unnatural way. I don't think any of you want to see that. And if you do, I can tape it for you. You can watch it later. I don't know what you're into.
Yeah, you might be able to get paid for that, but not on here.
Yeah, get the money for it for sure. Always be hustling, right? Always be grinding.
Exactly. Always be grinding. So, Shannon, what was the best thing you saw this week?
I have a best and worst, but we can do best.
No, let's do both. I love that.
I want to do a rant. I want to rant a little bit. The best thing, it's going to be something else that's animated. I know last week I did anime. This is just going to be animated.
Okay.
It's on HBO. It's called Scavenger's Reign, like reign, like a kingdom.
Yeah.
Honestly, the animation was so good. It was really enjoyable. It was very trippy at times. I did not trip while watching it. Just to be clear, I could maybe at some other point. However, it was really enjoyable. It was about a ship that was like a cargo ship, and it got downed onto this strange alien planet, and just the few persons that were like left there to like kind of pick up the pieces and rescue some other crew members and such. But like the whole thing was visually just very stunning. The story was fun, and it followed a few different characters, and all in all, just like very, very fun to watch. And like the thing that has been said about animation that, again, I'm not trying anything new here, is that with animation, you can really do anything you want. Like you're almost limitless as far as like what you can portray. And as fun and amazing as it is that we've seen things like in live action with CGI and such, which is still animation, but with all that's like making these new grounds and whatever, that's so cool. With animation, you can truly just do whatever and create whatever. And they really created an alien world that was just spectacular to look at. And so, TV show, best thing I've seen this week besides sports things.
Scavenger Reign.
Scavenger's Reign, yeah, on HBO.
All right.
On Max.
I know
Max.
with Crave, well, in Canada, we've got Crave, and the subscription usually comes with, I believe, everything HBO. So I'll see if it's on Crave.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was really enjoyable. Best sports thing I saw this week, probably Jokic. I'm going to sound like a homer here, but he's just insane. It's unreal to watch him play basketball.
I think it's just unreal to watch him. Like it's like nothing bothers that man. Like when he walks in, when he walks out, when he's on the parade, it's like nothing ever phases him. I love him.
Well,
I
just
didn't
like
love him at first, but now I do.
Just the fact that he approaches it like it's a job, and he's like, I'm going to be really good at my job, but also it's my job, and I'm just showing up for because it's what I signed up for. Yeah, like I just like love that mentality or whatever. At first, I did have issue with him because I remember early in his career, people were like, "This is the best passing big man in the league," and I'm like, "Hey, Marc Gasol exists, everyone," and I am a homer, and I do love the Grizzlies, and I was like, "No, Marc Gasol is the best big passer in the league," and then.
I was going to say Raptors. Marc Gasol was great. They helped win the Raptors a title. So yeah, I'll homer pick that one too.
I was very excited for that. I was very excited for my guy Mark. So yeah, but at first I was like, I don't know about this. This guy's the best passer. Mark exists. He's pretty great, And
yeah, I don't know what Jamie's talking about.
I imagine this is a Jamie is Canadian type of comment where he's just.
Well, I think he could be talking about, I don't know, maybe Travis Kelce's balls she killed at her concert, but other than that, I don't know.
Some people don't love.
She's in Brazil, so I don't think he's there. I think he'd be in Kansas City.
No, he was at her. He went to her concert in Argentina, somewhere.
Yeah,
he flew in because they were on a bye week.
They were on that bye week, right?
Yeah. So he flew in for that.
Because I was hearing a lot of people asking, is she going to be at the concert? Is she going to be at the game on Monday? And she's playing. She played yesterday. She's playing tonight, and she plays Sunday, but nothing Monday. But then she has, I think, next Friday, like 2 or 3 more shows in Brazil. So was she just going to stay in South America the whole time? She might fly up Monday to go to the.
No, she's actually in New York. She left the Argentine concert like in whatever outfit she wore. She just like got on a plane and came to that crazy, amazing loft that she has in New York. That's
she has her own
day off. She probably will go then Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, we should expect a good fantasy game from Kelsey, I suppose, if that's what the rules are.
Are those the rules now? He plays well when she's there.
I mean,
well,
I think he plays well regardless.
Yeah, but it's like it seems like all his spike weeks this year have come with Taylor Swift. Now, part of it was
what a stat
early in the season. A spike week, like just like the massive performances, like he's scoring.
No. I'm saying like what a stat, like my girlfriend's here. I'm gonna.
Oh, what a stat! Sorry, I thought you asked what is that, but but I think part of it too is early in the season when she wasn't going to as many games, is also when he was hurt and like he's worked his way back from the injury.
Mhm.
the knee thing that kept him out. Like, what did he miss? Like 2-3 weeks, or even just like
Yeah.
but it seemed like it affected multiple weeks with that.
I I just and I'm not. It's not that I don't love love. I hope that these two kids are really happy together and have lots of monkey sex. But I just want to hear the breakup song. That's what I'm here
I
for.
no, I
Her
don't.
breakup songs are so good though. It's like Adele.
Yes, great.
Adele was so good when she was like really sad and overweight, and then she lost all that weight and got happy, and now she's meh. Sam
I don't
Sam
know.
Sam Smith the same. Although Sam Smith was stealing other people's music, but still, he was good. He was good when he was
Well,
when he
here's the way I see it is that we've had the breakup songs,
right.
so let's continue on this love thing, and maybe it works out for them. Like, I mean, they're celebrities, so who knows? But and whatever, it's a relationship. Hopefully, it works out for them, and it just opens up a new avenue of some more music that aren't
But what
breakup
if it
songs
works
because
out
we
for
have
them?
breakup songs.
Do we have happy songs from her though? Like
Oh
good.
yeah, the whole Lover album. I mean, that was like her longest relationship still with Joe, whatever the British actor. And like she talked about that, like writing Lover. She was worried that now she was in like a really happy, longer term, stable relationship for her. Would she still she had that fear? Would she still be able to write good songs? And Lover is a pretty decent album, but I gotta say, like Folklore and Evermore to me are her best albums, and most of that isn't songs about her. There's a
Yeah,
couple. There's maybe like I think of Folklore like My Tears Ricochet. I think that one's maybe about her and her life, but other than that, mostly is like just stories she kind of invented or made up, or than the one about her house that she bought. But
yeah,
and so like I think she has shown the ability to not, she just writes great melodies. It doesn't really matter what the lyrics are, right? Like so
yeah.
Yeah,
she's
yeah, this is
like
true.
if you could just write the good, compose good melodies, then all that, then that's all that really matters
All right,
anyway.
I was
So
just worried about the kid. I just wanted to make sure that
no,
she
I
kept on
think
the
she.
trajectory that she's on. It didn't bring her down because she's happy and in love.
I think she's fine. I think she's
Okay.
going to be just fine.
I
Yeah.
think about Midnight's
Mm.
last album was all about like depression, and she called it like the 8 like sleepless nights in her life that just like triggered her writing these songs, and it was like all of them were super sad. So even like person in a happy time, successful, can still have those kind of
I
bad
have
moments, right? So even if she's happy in a relationship with Kelsey, doesn't mean she's going to be happy at every aspect of her life, and there'll never be that
I
pain to influence. I
just
do get
have
the
to
point.
admit I don't get the song Karma at all. And I've listened to it like 3 times. It doesn't make sense to me. Like
I just
I don't
like it
think it
because it's
has
super
to.
catchy.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
if
think
you
it
that
heard
has
was
the
to.
lyrics,
okay.
say
I
like
think
that's
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 pop
how I
music.
listen to music.
All right, good.
I
Because
get the
I'm
lyrics
listening to
cool.
it and
If
I'm
I
like,
don't, though,
oh
and
my
I
God,
can.
shit's not Karma. You know what I mean? Like, like I don't understand. Because I'm listening to it one day. I listen to the radio, and so I listened to the radio for music, and the whatever channel. She was like, "This is one of those." It was like the week Taylor Swift was here, the weekend Taylor Swift was here, and the DJ was like, "This is one of those songs that you can sing at the top of your lungs." And I'm listening to it, and I'm like, "Why would you?" Like, "Antihero" to me is a way better song that you can sing at the top of your lungs. I
Well,
love that. But
I'll like there's jazz tunes that I'll hum to like and sing the melody at the top of my lungs. So like that threshold is pretty low for me. I've got no shame.
um,
Not that, and people mostly don't want to hear it. So I'm sorry, every human.
um,
I'm
well,
not a good singer. I'm a great guitar player, but I am not a good singer at all.
that's funny though, not singing.
There's the humble brag there.
There's a humble brag. It
But
was a humble brag, and I appreciate it. It
just to
was
talk about Kelsey though, like both and back to the goal line guide, both of these run defenses are really good. The pass defenses are the way to beat this game. So like this could be a legit shootout, Eagles Chiefs Monday night, because that's the best way to beat those defenses is through the air anyway. So
yeah.
Kelsey's a must play. You're not playing him.
Yeah, Kelsey's a must play anyway. It doesn't matter how.
The thing is, this might be the week that you want to go to tight ends because he plays Monday night. I prefer to flex Monday night players. Now you never know, something might happen.
Tight ends?
Oh, it's the paranoid guy in me, right? Like what if Kelsey again, like he tweaked his knee at the start of the year, not like I think it might have been in practice, but it wasn't at the game, right? It wasn't playing
Yeah,
in the game.
I don't want to know
It
that.
just happened. So like could that just like re-aggravate? Could he wake up tomorrow and twist it funny and suddenly he's out? You always want to have that Monday night backup just in case. And that's again the paranoid guy in the back of my head that like, something could always go wrong, right? Worst case scenario. So like I know there's a league where I managed to also I think it's only an 8-team league, and after his early struggles in a redraft league, someone dropped Kincaid earlier this season. I Kelsey. And I thought, I'm just going to pick it up and I'm going to try riding both out. And I might not play Kincaid every week, but this seemed like the perfect week to play. Jets, really good defense against the wide receivers. That tight end, it may be the matchup that the Bills actually need to utilize to beat the Jets. They didn't really activate Kincaid in that first week, so we'll see how he goes. Just seemed like the perfect time to play him in the tight end spot and flex Kelsey. But if you can get that anyone who has Kelsey, if you can get a second good tight end, this might be the week, even in a non-tight end premium league, to just play that other tight end, play Kelsey in a flex, and then you might have other options as backups just in case something goes wrong. Again, you don't have to be as paranoid as me and not worry about that stuff, but I'm constantly thinking about my lineups. Okay, Monday night players. Who do I have? Do I have a backup for Monday night? Okay, if not, what do I risk? This player really hasn't missed games. Okay, I think I'll risk it and not worry about it. Okay, do I have a player on bye that if something happens, I can drop them and then get something, so I don't have to worry about it now. 22 leagues. I got to think about this now.
And that's
the process, folks. So.
Before we go to the worst, Kyle.
Let's finish everybody's bets.
Yeah, Kyle. What was the best thing that you saw this week?
Fantasy football again, and decided to wear the Scott Fishbowl shirt because when I woke up Tuesday morning and looked at my team and the record and saw 13 wins, that meant that I am in the Scott Fishbowl playoffs.
Yeah, way to go! What? Woo! Yeah, Kyle.
It's funny because my first, I think, 3 years in Scott Fishbowl, I had a winning record every season and didn't make the playoffs. So I was close. I was never good enough to be in the playoffs, but always in that 51st percentile or 53rd percentile, just not quite in the top half. And then last year I finished 98th and made the playoffs 2 years in a row. I don't want to say it's all because of Patrick Mahomes because this year he really hasn't been doing great, but it certainly helped last year. But yeah, I pulled up the draft board just to see from the 102 spot, and the picks that stood out are the quarterbacks. So Mahomes 102, Cousins in the 4th, and then CJ Stroud 802. And I wasn't really playing Stroud, I think, at all until Cousins got hurt because Mahomes and Cousins both had late buys. So they were literally in my lineup every week, and they were okay, Stroud, I might do good. But Cousins has done so well this year. Let's just keep him in. And then sure enough, Cousins gets hurt, and then Stroud gets those spike weeks recently that I've been able to capture. So hopefully Stroud and Mahomes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I am not even – I'm like the one looking up at you because I am so I'm not even sure if I have 3 wins in the Scott Fish Bowl this year. And I deserve not to have 3 wins because my draft went really shitty. So I don't.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
I mean, early July drafts can be tough.
Yeah.
I took Jonathan Taylor at 211, thinking, "Oh my God, this is almost a steal at this point." And then, a couple weeks later, the Irsay stuff comes out, and then the potential of the holdout, and we might put him on non-football IR for the entire season, and he misses the whole year. What? Wow. And I thought oh man, I just messed that pick up, and now it's kind of swung back. Okay, Taylor's doing okay, so maybe.
Yeah, I can't even blame that. I just had a really bad job.
I don't have Swift to have the Taylor Swift combo on the team.
But. Someone's gonna have that their name next year. They're gonna draft those two just so they could have that as their name.
I feel like people have been using that name since they've come out together. To be honest,
the Taylor Swift combo.
Yeah, ever since that 2020 draft, I heard that referenced. I don't know if anyone. I can't remember any specific team names using it, but I guarantee someone's used that name if they drafted.
I play in leagues where I don't know if, the home leagues I play in. I'm pretty sure most of the guys don't even know who Taylor Swift is. So. That would never be. Yeah,
they know now.
Yeah, they do know now. Okay, so the best thing I saw this week, last night, Silverado was on the Outdoor Channel on a loop. The movie Silverado.
The movie, yeah, is
one of the best Western movies I will ever see in my entire life. The cast is outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those movies where you're crying and you're like, oh my God, this sucks. And then you're like, oh my God, this is great. And Kevin Kline, the character, is it's like Kevin Kline, Jeff Goldblum, Brian Dennehy, Scott Glenn, Kevin Costner, Linda Hunt, Roseanne Arquette. I mean, everyone's in it and they're not featured by the, you know what I mean? I mean, it's Scott Glenn, Kevin Kline, Dan Glover, Kevin Costner, the 4, and Brian Dennehy is such a great bad guy that you're when Linda Hunt, there's a scene where Brian Dennehy and Kevin Kline used to ride together, and Brian Dennehy, I guess, got extremely bad, and so Kevin Kline stopped riding with him, and Brian Dennehy is trying to explain to Linda Hunt the reason why he stopped riding, and it's because Jeff Fahey kicked a dog, and Kevin Kline, and Kevin Kline was like,
we're not riding together anymore.
Yeah, we're not riding together anymore. And Brian Dennehy is like, you never know what he's going to, what he's going to be drawn to. And Brian Dennehy discovers it's Linda Hunt, that, Stella is Kevin Kline's like foible in this one. And when she finds out, when he doesn't say it, he kind of looks at her and she's like, I know you would be helping, but I guess he discovered what your weakness is. And he goes, yeah, he did. Her face, Linda Hunt, I think, is a great actress anyway. Like NCIS, as Hetty, she's just a great actress. But her face when she says that is the face you make when, the really good-looking guy likes you. You know what I mean? It was that face, and I'm like, that's awesome, because that would be the kind of face that you would make when Kevin Kline says, yeah, you're the reason I'm not sticking up for my friends. And then when she says, well, he can't hurt me if he's dead, I'm like, that's it. This movie, I'm watching it again on a loop just for that line, just for this scene right here. It's such a great movie. I don't even know. I can't even explain. If you've never seen it, you have to see it.
Oh, I've watched it. My father was a big Western fan, so we watched a lot of Westerns growing up.
Is it not one of the greatest Westerns?
I want to say I watched it earlier this year, in fact.
Probably, because I've noticed that it's been on a couple of times.
Yeah, I probably didn't watch it on TV.
No, I've never seen it.
You have to see it. Silverado.
Well,
I think
anytime Kevin Costner, anytime Kevin Costner puts on a cowboy hat, I'm invested.
Okay.
Like Lonesome Dove, I'm a little whatever. My mom loved Lonesome Dove. It was a little not for me, but otherwise, like anytime he puts on a cowboy hat, I'm like, yeah, man, I'll watch it. Not a problem.
His character was clearly the only character that was kind of, and I understand that he's supposed to be that way, but he was so out there, like hiding under the bed and like
in the jail cell, like swinging from the bar. Right? Yeah.
I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and then that. Oh my God, Jamie, you have got to like increase your Western. Yeah, iconic. What is it called? Catalog. You have to increase your Western catalog because.
I mean, if we're going that far, Star Wars is like a space Western, so it really is a New Hope. Like Han Solo is basically a cowboy.
Well, then what is it? Cowboys and Aliens? Is that
that's definitely a Western movie for sure. If it just has aliens in it. That was a decent movie, to be honest. But yeah, I guess I'll say Star Wars is the best Western movie.
Okay.
Empire Strikes Back doesn't really feel like a Western, so like we'll just keep it to just New Hope. I guess Return of the Jedi is in the desert a little bit on Tatooine, but yeah, I'll say Star Wars New Hope.
See, I can't make any comment because I've never watched the Star Wars movie completely all the way through.
Well, you know what? Start with Star Wars: A New Hope because it's a Western technically. I think you'll like Han Solo. He's kind of a scoundrel. It's Harrison Ford, so he's pretty good looking. Quick draw.
All right, I will watch Star Wars: A New Hope if you watch Silverado.
Oh yeah, I'll make the attempt to. I'll see if it's on any of the platforms. If it's Crave, Netflix, what else we got? Disney. What do you watch it on? Or do you
I watched. It was on It was called the Outdoor Channel. I've never seen it before.
Okay.
I mean, because they shoot.
I think it was on Amazon.
Outdoor Life Network. Is that?
Yeah, Outdoor Network. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I guess I'll check to see. I think I've got that. So yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's what it was on because every time
Silverado. I'll look for it. Yeah.
Someone hunting with a bow and arrow. Like I don't even know. All right, Shannon, your worst was the worst.
Okay. Let me just start off by saying, normally I don't like. I'm just kind of like I kind of shrug. I'm like, oh, whatever. This is bad. However, whatever. I gotta say, I've gotten to the point. I hate Draymond Green. Like I hate him as a person. And I get that. I get, standing up for your teammates. I understand that. I understand effort. I understand being a tryhard. Like he's not like a prolific scorer. He doesn't need to be on that team. he does his job and he's like kind of singular in kind of what he does. Like he's really good at defense and he can like kind of play against any position, so on and so forth. Like as far as like professional basketball player, I get all of that. However, and let me add real quick before I say this, he off the court, he tries and aims to come off very thoughtful. And people are like, oh my gosh, Draymond said this, how, unique or whatever, or like how thoughtful of him, whatever. Fuck Draymond Green. Like if you perform this way or do the kind of things that he does at your work, at your job, the idea that you're not that way off the court and not at your job, that just doesn't exist to me. I just like, if you can't control your emotions and can't control yourself and your body at work while you're playing a child's game, getting paid a king's ransom, which by all means, like whatever you want to take from that, but you do it there, the idea that you're not doing that outside of that doesn't exist to me. Because
I hate to see him on his worst behavior. Yeah.
Exactly. And so more often than not, like he has his own podcast or he'll go onto some show or whatever, and people are like, oh, wow, Draymond really, came across like this and that's so cool, whatever. No, fuck you, dude. You are a child. You need to grow the fuck up. Go ahead.
I heard one sports analyst say that the reason that Draymond Green does this, and I guess I don't know if he correlated all of them, it's because he can't play without Steph, that he's not a good player unless Steph is on the court. And so because Steph is, like, I guess not playing for a few games.
He was trying to get off, yeah.
He was trying to get off. Like,
with Steph's on the court, he's not a good offensive player at all. He's a great defensive player. So, he doesn't need Steph to play defense. He can still do all those things, but the team won't score because he's out there as the main scorer. That's not a recipe to win games.
Well, I think he meant that
he tries not to play unless Steph's playing.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because it's too difficult. It's too hard. Oh, we're not winning games.
Yeah. That he only wants to be on the court when Steph is on the court. And
which is why he wants to stay in Golden State. He doesn't want to leave because
because
literally not a better shooter ever. And he could time travel and he wouldn't be able to play with the better shooters. So.
And
we don't need to give Draymond Green the power of time travel. That's even.
And like, no, not at all. Not even in the slightest.
Back
like,
to the future, we'll leave it with the doc.
Like that's the thing, and truly,
too, but, yeah.
And I get that players don't like Rudy Gobert, but this isn't a singular situation. Like most players, like let's take Steven Adams for example. I don't know that I've ever heard a player say anything bad about Steven Adams, and he kicked Steven Adams in the groin at minimum twice, maybe 3 times. And the time that he stomped on the guy from Sacramento now that played with Indiana, I can't think of his name, the center. But like he just does these, and he like punched dudes in the groin.
Sabonis?
And like Sabonis, yeah, the time he stomped on Sabonis, and like he punched he like punched dudes in the groin, and he comes in with like flying knees when guys are trying to shoot 3-pointers and things like that. Like this isn't a singular thing, and I get in the moment like defending your guy. But this is like one of those things where like, and I think he got a 5-game suspension. I'm like, I just don't even know if that's like enough. Because
considering someone's serving a 41-game suspension this year.
Yeah. And so like, it's just like, come on, dude, like grow the fuck up. You're in your 30s now. Like, it's not like it's not like, again, it's not singular. Like this is a trend. This is like who he is as a person, not even a player. Like this is who he is as a person.
Bad
he does
reputation.
This stuff.
Bad reputation. Oh.
Yeah. And so like, it's just one of those things where like, and he's always going to have his defenders and people will be like, well, yeah, but he's still like this great basketball player. Like, no, dude, 2 things can exist. Like he can be good at basketball and he can also be a piece of shit. And I am of the mind that he is that.
Great football player.
Yeah.
Kind of a dirty player though, and kind of awful. So
yeah. And so I don't know. I think like things like that are just like, it's just I get that there are fights and all that stuff, but the way he conducts himself is just bad. Like it's not good. And like to the point where it's like harmful. Like, football is very contact. Basketball is contact for sure, whatever. But like some of the plays that he has, if you like, because I think somebody this week, I know somebody, like they've made like highlights of him just where he's like done things like this. And where like low lights essentially. And where he'll like guys are going up for a dunk and he'll like drag them to the ground or like grab them and throw them to the floor and stuff like that. And it's like, things like that where like people can genuinely get injured. It's just like, come on, bro, like grow up. And so I have to say, Draymond's a piece of shit. I don't like him. He's he sucks.
Honestly, everything you just said, where we talk about how he's not good at scoring and really good defender, Draymond Green is basically just Ben Simmons, only seemingly a better teammate, supposedly. Although he did punch a teammate in the face, so I don't know, maybe not. But like they're basically the same dudes. And for some reason, I don't like because I've only ever seen someone get like put a stranglehold on a dude in a basketball game twice, and it's been someone doing it to a Minnesota Timberwolves. So I don't know if it's something about the Timberwolves that people just hate them more. But last time it was Ben Simmons who did it to Karl Anthony Towns. It's like what is they're not even that good of a team. Like why do people hate them? Like if like these guys are always winning, F them. Like it's why are you picking on them? Like if you're gonna hate any Minnesota team, hate the Vikings. But like
Oh man. Well, their front office does suck. The Timberwolves front office does suck. They are having a good start to the season this year, so we'll see. But that front office is terrible. That's my rant. I apologize, everybody. It's just I had to get that off my chest. I just
I don't
cannot
think you
stand
should
him.
apologize for a
no,
rant.
that was amazing. Thank you.
It was an amazing rant, and I enjoyed it.
I
And
wholeheartedly agree.
I agree. I don't know. I think I'm tired of people failing upwards, and I'm tired of people who play kids games or who coach kids games fail upwards. I'm tired of Texas A&M coach getting $73 million not to coach. I'm tired of Rick Pitino getting another job, and I love Rick Pitino. I loved him ever since he coached at U of L. But the man's been caught cheating like, I don't know, multiple times, and you still get a great job at St. John's. I'm tired of the Draymond Greens still getting, like, you get in that kind of fight at a work job, and you don't have a job anymore. You don't get paid. You don't get paid to sit on your ass because you were bad. You're failing upwards, and I'm so very tired of everyone going, well, no, it's not. Well, you're rewarding people for being bad. Jim Harbaugh, is it Jim? Whatever. The Michigan coach, he's going to get a sweet job. He's already got caught cheating twice in one season. It's not even that he's credited it out.
It's not like Michigan's going to get rid of him either. Like the only way he's leaving that job is if he wants to leave. But like, I mean, to me, like,
I don't know. The AD isn't too crazy about him. And
I don't know.
They might force him out because
they're
I
winning,
think,
right? Like I just feel like.
Yeah, but if he keeps getting caught, they're not going to be able to go to bowl games. So NCAA will start taking bowl games away from them, and then they won't be getting any of that money.
True.
So yeah,
I guess until they if that's the threat.
You know what I mean?
They might do that before they want to. Yeah, you're right. I guess they'd want to do that before that comes in, not
Yeah.
after.
And he's going to get a sweet job. Lane Kifflin fails upward, gets a sweet job, and it's not like these people aren't talented. I'm not saying they're not talented. They obviously are really good or were really good at the job that they did. But come on, you fucking going to give someone $73 million not to work? Basically just to leave your team alone?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
And then these schools complain about the athletes making too much money.
Yeah, the athletes getting NILS money. The coaches are like, yeah, I don't think that's fair. I don't think. And they complain about them going to portal. Even when a coach can quit midseason and go to another team, that's okay. But like, let an athlete at the end of the season decide that he wants to go somewhere he's wants to play, and all hell breaks loose.
Davos it's not great, especially because like, and I understand also too, it's a different world. But again, like you said, like you do certain things, like you get caught cheating at work on whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, or any number of things that you do in the average person's day. It's just like, it's not going to end great,
Yeah.
And
you're not going to get $1 million.
You're not getting a golden parachute.
Exactly. You're not going to get, we'll
pretty heavy though. That might not work.
We'll give you a good recommendation, and you can, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if a coach gets fired, their contract is guaranteed, right? Like an NFL coach gets fired.
That's every sport. Yeah. The NFL coaches, everything's fully guaranteed, but the players aren't.
So
which is crazy.
So McDaniels, you suck, but here we're still going to pay you, so go away.
It's funny. Like I don't think this happens in the NFL, but in the NHL, if you fire a coach, like if you like, oh, we made a bad decision to hire this guy, and you still get rewarded in the sense you as a team still have to pay them, but as long as they're paying them, that coach can't sign another contract unless the team okays it, or usually like there's a compensation paid, a trade of some sort,
Mm-hmm.
like a draft pick, like almost like you would for like restricted free agents type thing. So
Yeah.
I don't think
Kind
that
of like a
happens in the-
divorce, you mean? So like if you're getting alimony and you get married, then you don't get alimony anymore, that kind of thing?
essentially, yeah. If you can't double dip, you can't still be getting paid by them and then the other team, but like. But okay, I fired this coach. They're not available. I'm still paying him, but I also
Mm-hmm.
own his rights, type thing. So like, if
I
someone
don't-
wants to hire him, they have to go through me first and pay some type of like finder's fee.
I don't think that's a thing in the NFL.
I don't think
It's
so
not.
either. I know
Yeah.
It'd
some
be
stuff
cool.
like they've made rules like with minority hires where a team, because the NFL loves to just give out compensatory picks. Because like when the Dolphins hired Mike McDaniel, I kind of misinterpreted at first. I thought it was like, they were having to pay a draft pick to San Francisco because he was still under contract. And I thought it was like how the NHL works. And then it was like, no, they're not paying a pick. The 49ers just getting a pick added in the compensatory round because Mike McDaniel counts as a minority.
Right.
So like the NFL is that, but it's not quite the same as what the NHL does. But yeah, there's some weird thing. There's the standards of sports employment are totally different than any other industry. It's like they go by their own rules. They
Bonkers, yeah.
It's because there's so much money involved. Like there's so much. Like
these rich billionaires are used to just breaking laws and doing whatever they want, and they're normal everyday other avenues anyway. So they just do it here. So
it's like
we can actually make the rules ourselves. Cool, that's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Colin Kaepernick how that works out for him.
Yeah. Fuck.
It's like, yeah. Because I remember someone saying there was a coach that was getting paid by like 3 different teams at one time, but he wasn't coaching. Yeah, and it's because 3 different teams fired him in the middle of his contract.
And apparently 3 different teams were stupid enough to hire him because it doesn't seem like he's very good if he keeps getting fired.
Yeah, and they were like not short contract. Like, give him a year contract or something or 2. Like this 5-year contract bullshit, and they get booted in like the 2nd, 3rd year, which is one of the reasons like the Steelers are probably more solvent than most because they're not paying coaches that aren't coaching any. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
3 coaches in the last 60 years.
Yeah, and
wild, insane. Guess
and
what? They've won the most Super Bowls ever.
Someone was saying, like everyone's like from the beginning of the season have been yelling for Canada to go. Meanwhile, Dorsey gets fired because there's 12 guys on the defensive team on the field. They fired the OC Dorsey. I'm sorry.
I
cannot
don't
make
think
any
Dorsey got fired from this game. I think this has been a long time thing that's been festering.
I don't know.
I think they thought he would be as good as Dable, and he hasn't been as good as Dable. And I think the organization's been unsatisfied with him because of the standard Dable set as an OC. And I think also like that outburst he had last year, that seemed like the one on I think it was the Dolphins game where Allen threw the pick at the end and he just like lost it in the press box. The OC. The team, like he had to come out and apologize about that. It seemed like McDermott wasn't happy about that. That the team itself, like the players, weren't happy about it. So I think that might have just caused some tension. And then I'm almost surprised it's taken this long because it feels like there just hasn't been something right with the Bills since Dable's left. And it's funny. Someone asked if McDermott and Dable both get fired, do the Bills hire Dable as head coach now? Well, you made it work as OC. It didn't work in
Josh Allen handpicked Dorsey when Dable went. They asked him.
And Patrick Mahomes handpicked Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Taylor and Swift.
Well, I mean,
just because the quarterback wants them doesn't mean it's the right decision.
Yeah, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire isn't making Patrick Mahomes' decisions.
Yeah,
Dorsey is making Josh Allen's decisions, and Josh Allen picked him and the quarterback coach. So if Josh Allen's throwing interceptions, Josh Allen.
Well, that's on Josh Allen, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Josh Allen.
If Josh Allen's making mistakes, that's not Dorsey's fault. But I do feel like there might, and I don't think the tension is with Allen and necessarily Dorsey. But I just feel like maybe some defensive players, or certainly McDermott. I feel like it didn't quite sit right with everyone, and it kind of has been festering in the background since. I'd imagine this isn't just a 1-game thing. This has been a trend for the last couple of years, and they've just finally had enough.
Well,
and now that they're finally outside the playoffs at 500, I think we need to make a change, right? And I think it's way easier to make that change than it is to make other changes. So I don't think it's necessarily he called a bad game in the Denver game specifically. I just think they're dissatisfied with what he's done. It hasn't been quite, not that he's been awful, but I don't think he's been quite up to the standard they want.
So then what's the defense excuse? Do you fire Leslie Frazier or you let him take a leave of absence? You take over defensive calling that defense is not as good as it was last year in any stretch.
Yeah, but it wasn't really that good last year, right? I mean, it was just they were just like
They were-
managing.
They were better than they are this year, and I don't remember them having.
But their
like,
offense was. I thought it was their offense that was
not to say injuries are like an excuse, but
Excuse?
they have lost like their best player at every level of that defense. And like Von Miller's not like he was outstanding last year, and then since the ACL tear, he just hasn't been the same. And
which
so,
what human would be.
Exactly right. I mean, he's he's come back from injuries too and been well, but I think at this age he's just not the same. So there's your best edge rusher who's just not quite elite anymore. Matt Milano's out for the year. That's your best linebacker gone. Your best coverage player is gone. You know, at least the safeties are both intact with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, but like cornerback seems like that's an issue, and they don't. And I mean, to be fair, that's more of a GM thing, like not having the proper depth. I know they drafted that guy in the first round last year. I believe it was Ento. He hasn't quite lived up to that hype. I mean, Tre'Davious White is one of the best corners in the league, so you're not going to get that level of play. But it does feel like injuries have just hit not so much the quantity, but the quality of the players you've lost. It's really changed the look of this defense. They're
and the mental mistakes.
Yeah, well, and then that's when you have players in elevated roles that aren't used to it, right? Like that's like they're gonna maybe be more prone to those mental mistakes. They're not used to playing snap in, snap out.
Can I? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, like Milano, especially, that's your signal caller on defense. That's the guy that gets everyone lined up. Like whoever's coming into that role, A, isn't as good of a tackler and just like on field player as him, and B, doesn't know the defense as well as him. So like that's probably the one that's like hurt the most because they've been able to survive without Tre'Davious White in the past and at least make the playoffs. It probably really hurt them that one game against the Chiefs where they couldn't cover anyone and he wasn't in that game. But like I wonder if the Milano injury is really just like now their on-field coach, quote unquote, that signal calling defense has changed, and so are they not getting lined up properly? They just whoever's there isn't getting everything checked on every single play. When there is a mistake made, the opposition just exploits it.
What were you gonna
say? I was gonna say, can I touch on the opposite side of this with our boy Josh Dobbs?
Yes.
Coming in, not knowing anything and winning games.
Engineer. I love that.
My connection is that he played at the University of Tennessee. Of which I am the state I hail from. And I kept an eye on him because he also played for your Steelers, right?
Yeah, he did. He got drafted by the Steelers.
And I thought, who knows? Who knows? And now look at him. It took a few years, but he's out there and he's slinging it around.
There are stories about him that are incredible. Like when he went on the senior trip that they go to college and they ask him, so what are you studying? And he'd be like, applied physics or, applied mathematics. And they're like, so what are you going to study when you get here? And he's like, aerospace engineer. And there's a coach that said one time when Josh Dobbs was a freshman, he was sitting outside and he was with the playbook and it was late because he had gone to his classes and the coach thought he would shake him. And he's like, hey, rookie, are you going to get that playbook? And he said Dobbs just went through plays and he's like, oh, okay, never mind. And he just walked away. He's absorbs information so well. And he looks at it from a mathematical point of view, this is a problem that needs to be solved. And this is how I should have to solve it. That how he applies it is so amazing that no one, his physics professor said that he had the TV on when Dobbs was playing in Minnesota. And then when he went in and he was like, oh my God. And he calls his wife. He's like, Dobbs is playing. He's in the game. And he's like, nothing surprised me at what he did because it didn't surprise me because that's who Josh Dobbs is.
And had to learn 4 different playbooks in the last
370
days or something. Titans last year, it was with the Browns earlier this year. Then they got traded to the Cardinals. Then now with the Vikings. So he's just
he
helps.
I just love him. I loved him. I hate Tennessee. I'm not gonna lie. I hate University of Tennessee, but I loved him coming out.
Not the state, the university. To be clear.
You can hate both. I would understand. I get it.
And him going to Steelers, I almost openly wept when the Steelers let him go because he was behind Ben, and that was the problem. He had to sit behind Ben for all that time, and Roethlisberger wasn't giving up that position to anyone. But good God, he's just. They said that one time he was. They were calling for him, and there was a girl who had, what's it called, alopecia?
Alopecia, yeah.
Yeah, she had come to see him, and so he went to go talk to her, and he spent like an hour instead of like the 5 minutes, and she had a wig on, and he made her so comfortable that she took the wig off in front of him,
Hmm.
and she hasn't worn it since. And his team was like, "Where the fuck is he? Like, he's supposed to be on the bus." And they went to go find him, and he was like sitting on the floor talking to this little girl instead of
Yeah.
being, running to the team bus.
And I noticed he sent a Vikings jersey to a young boy suffering from the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like just like super.
I just love him. Even if, I mean, they're here this week, so I might like try to like stake him out and like find out where Minnesota's staying and like stalk him. I'm not saying I will, because I don't know well, but
I've got to start him in a couple leagues, so don't throw him off too much. I want him to have a good game. But it's funny because like one of those things where I'm deciding, it's Fields, Dobbs, and Wilson, and I got to bench one of them, and it's funny that Fields is back in the play. I can't not play Justin Fields, but like it's funny that it's Dobbs versus Wilson in that same game Sunday night.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could bench Fields, but no, I think I'm going to pick Dobbs over Russell Wilson. It's crazy that that's the world we live in.
No, I would.
It's not.
Brian Flores' defense on Russell Wilson, I'd bench. Plus, they're going to just run the ball. Sean Payton's already basically said that.
I honestly have them back to back in my ranking, so I actually thought it was a pretty tough decision. But yeah, Dobbs one spot ahead. So if anyone looking at that,
yeah, I adore him.
I went on a couple of dates with a girl with alopecia who didn't wear a wig. She was really cute.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out if she was into me or not, and so I didn't call her for a couple of days, and she never called me. So I was like, I guess she's not really that into me.
Or she thought
Molly Pierce, if you're out there, I had a good time, but.
Or she thought you weren't that into her. Why didn't you call her?
Well, that's the thing is I felt like I was reaching out. I was like being the one that was like, kind of always initiating. I was like, maybe I'll wait for her to text me or whatever. And then my friend who like set us up was like, she said you like just like didn't stop texting her. I was like, well, I didn't think she was in, so it's okay.
I just saw a Friends episode like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was yeah.
Honestly, if I were to extrapolate it long term, she would have definitely been out on me eventually. She'd be like, this guy isn't it.
I think you're awesome.
I think you're awesome too.
I also think Brian May is awesome. So yeah, totally shout out to Terry for this comment. Yeah, he's written doctorate degree like documents on physics as well as he's written songs for Queen too. So it's fantastic. I love Brian May. So awesome.
I love Queen.
Yeah, Queen's fantastic.
They really
I get told more often than not that I have a Freddie Mercury vibe. That's the vibe I give off a lot of times.
Really? I was thinking Roger Taylor, but I guess I can understand.
I don't know, man. It's just what some people tell me. I'm like, okay, cool, great, love it.
The mustache?
Yeah, it's really the mustache.
Oh,
because I'm blonde too. Like I don't even have like dark hair,
black hair,
most of the time too. So people are just like, oh, well, this is the vibe I get off. I'm like, oh, you mean slightly gay? Yeah. Sure.
I don't think I ever got that Freddie Mercury vibe from you.
That's fair.
At all.
Yeah. It's just the mustache.
About it.
What I love is when people are like, I don't know if you've ever heard this, and they say that, or they like say I like remind them of this person or that person, and I always tell them it's the first time I've heard that. They're like, oh, I'm like, oh my gosh, no one's ever said that to me. Just
Look at you trying to make people feel better.
It'd be hilarious if someone forgets they told you that and says it again and then says the same. Like,
yeah.
Wait, or Taylor Swift what?
Oh, because I said Roger Taylor. Looks like, or maybe he gives off Taylor Swift vibes.
Oh.
He's such an extrovert. Because I would say you're definitely not John Deacon.
Oh my God! Way to go, Terry.
Actually,
you made him leave. What up, NBA Rig? I think she got kicked my ass in the zombie league.
Well, I think she became a zombie too. So we're all zombies.
I need to make someone a zombie this week. That's like my only goal. Like that's
yeah.
the only,
Well, I don't have a chance. I'm playing a zombie, so I won't be able to do it.
You're playing a zombie?
So I can't steal anyone. So my team is my team. I just gotta hope next week I don't finish bottom 2 in points, and then there we go. I can say I wasn't last.
Oh my God, Jamie, get out of
how
fantasy
few wins
land.
I've had up to this point.
I was the league I have Burrow in that I played Burrow, and it's what's his face's league, Tuesday guy. It's D's league.
Oh yeah, that the redraft league.
Yeah, the redraft league, and I'm like in last place, and they're like, "Who has Burrow?" And the one guy goes, "Oh, never mind." I'm like, "Okay, thanks." You always have got Freddie vibes.
man.
Oh, Jesse thinks you have Freddie vibes. Jesse Patterson, Jesse P.
Sick.
Yeah, Zombie Champ is already in the. Is she the? Wait, what?
Well,
Is she
I don't
the
know.
Zombie Champ?
We'll find out. She might be. She might be the champion. Honestly, again,
Do we have like playoffs in that league?
Yeah, well, so this is how it'll work. I guess it's funny that I should explain to a league mate, but also to the people listening. Next week, we're going to play basically all play. So, like, we'll all just set lineups. The 2 teams with the lowest point totals
Oh, then
will
it
be
becomes a
eliminated.
guillotine league?
Yes, because our players will be made available to everyone. So there'll be 3 weeks of that. So weeks 12, 13, 14, that'll eliminate 6 teams. And then they have their real playoffs, and then they'll have the top 6 teams kind of do a playoff bracket.
I can't.
So these next 3 weeks, Gladys, it's all about don't finish bottom 2.
Okay.
So someone like me who's 2 and I think do I have 1 win, I think, or 2 wins? My team is awful. I'm in last place. I still have a chance to win this whole thing. I just gotta not like I just gotta not finish last next week, and that's all I can hope for. But you know, that's all. That's what I'm aiming for. Just don't get eliminated next week, and I won't finish last. I won't go from first to worst. That's not great.
So just don't get eliminated. Just stay above water. Just swim.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question. Do you guys watch Arrow?
I have.
All right. The Sarah that is on the boat with Oliver Queen,
Mm-hmm.
is she the same Sarah that becomes the assassin?
Wait, do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Yeah, she becomes the white canary. So there's black canary and there's white canary, and she becomes white canary.
I don't know why I've seen Arrow, of course, when he first came out, and it just dawned on me, like when I was like sick and in my haze of Theraflu and acetaminophen. I'm like, wait, is Sarah the same Sarah? And I don't even know where it came from. Is she the same Sarah that's the assassin? I don't know why.
This is a question that popped in.
It's probably supposed to be a plot twist, but you've just figured it out right off the bat. So good job.
Well,
yeah,
not right off the bat. This is my second time watching it around.
Okay.
Unlike Perot being autistic.
See, I think I've got an answer for this actually, Julia. Where is Taylor Swift comp player in Dynasty NFL? Because my first thought is, what
does that mean? What does that mean?
And yeah, so we can all kind of, however you want to compare to Taylor Swift. So my first thought is incredibly popular, right? Just like this Eras tour is likely going to be the highest grossing musical act tour ever. That's part of because inflation. There'll be another tour. It's like quarterback contract.
Right.
There'll be another tour next year to
but right now
she is worldwide phenomenon. So you can go to any country and sell out whatever arena they have there. So my first thought is incredibly popular, but as like Jamie, he's never heard one of her albums. I'm sure there's tons of people who don't like her that are so annoyed that all we do is talk about her. So who's an NFL player who's incredibly popular, but like we get annoyed with because they're so.
It's
Brady. It could be a college player.
Well, I was thinking Mahomes because it feels like there's certain people who just dislike Mahomes just because he's so popular. But to your point, Shannon, there's a lot of that with Brady, and I think it's just the guys at the top just get hated on by everyone else. So my answer was Mahomes. And
I feel like Brady was in more things, like he was just like more prevalent because he was like he was also with a international model and things like that, right? Whereas Mahomes, his wife she's on the upswing because Taylor's allowed her in her circle.
That's true, yeah. Their best
but she's on the upswing, and like, wow, what a time for Brittany Mahomes.
What a time for Brittany. There was a picture of Taylor in the box and Jackson behind her, and he's just kind of like leerily staring at her, and the caption was, "This is the last time Jackson's going to be allowed in the box."
I'm surprised they've let him in it.
I know.
Well, I mean, hang on. I mean, it depends on those charges. He might be going to a different box.
True. Hopefully.
Kyle, he should. Yeah.
Kyle, I went to a jazz show
sweet.
Thursday night in this group called Dreamcast, and they basically take old Sega and old game tunes and make them jazz. It was pretty great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I thought you might like that.
Cool. What's the instrumentation? Like how many members? Like what were they doing?
It was two members. The guy had keys. He had another setup that like made not synthy sounds, but sounds, video game sounds. A trumpet, and so that was him. And then they had a drummer as well, and the drummer obviously just insane.
Okay.
But they were called Dreamcast, and it was really, really fun.
That's sweet. That's awesome.
I enjoyed it. However, there weren't any lyrics, and so like I was like, okay, I gotta get something with lyrics, and so I went to another bar that had like a punk rock show, and which I was very much like.
That's awesome. That sounds like a great night. Perfectly
It
balanced.
was a good night. It was a great balance. I was like, punk rock, man, I need to see more of these shows.
Oh,
This is great, and again, it's how you interpret Taylor Swift. It's funny. It's a first overall pick, right? So we could talk about all the hype with Baker. This actually makes a lot of sense, Jamie. And for a Browns fan to name Baker is
except
hilarious.
I don't know that you can say someone who's actually a billionaire, who's actually making money, who's actually doing great, is a comp to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I don't know that Taylor sucks though, because
clearly Jamie doesn't like your music, so that's his objective.
He's never listened to an album. He said earlier.
Well, he's never listened to an album. That doesn't mean he's never listened to songs.
Jamie, have you ever listened to a Taylor Swift song?
He probably has, not willingly though, right? Like he just, like you said, Gladys, like it's always on the radio, because it's so popular, right?
I mean, if you don't like pop music, I could see how you don't like Taylor Swift, but
yeah, if you're like me and you just love jazz and want to listen to Claude Debussy symphonic sketches all day, then yeah.
And who doesn't, actually?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Debussy is amazing. I think he's the greatest composer ever. Like everything. Like there's a lot of structure when it comes to what is considered classical music, and he kind of just like throws all those rules out, which is very 20th century. It's very avant-garde to what would come in the 20th century, but a lot of what we saw in 20th century symphonic music is very atonal, and it's like we're pushing the rules of tonality. He was more he was just guided by his ears. What sounds good? So it is all very tonal, but I'm gonna ignore the rules of harmony and the rules of like how we should resolve things and cadences that everyone wants to do, because it makes everything sound so expected and yeah, okay, it's everyone's kind of interpretation on the same sort of form, and he just wanted to make good sounding tonal music, but with kind of a free flowing form type of way, organized in his own way, but not the way everyone else always organizes music. And
Shannon, I'm sorry.
Claude Debussy, amazing composer.
Shannon, where will you rank her in all-time pop culture history among the
So
female
she's gonna be at the top, and I actually I feel like I've talked about this before, but so Taylor and Beyonce are at the top currently, right? Madonna is obviously high, along with, I'll say, I mean, you could put a few others up there as far as like pop culture or whatever, but like this is what I usually tell. This is actually a thing I tell people. Taylor and Beyonce are like the most important currently. Now, Lady Gaga and I'm blanking on this right now, and like Katy Perry, I love them more than I like Taylor or Beyonce. Katy Perry is my absolute favorite. There's nobody that I'm gonna like more than her. Of all of them though, like the best of the best is Rihanna. Like Rihanna just like does not miss. Just like with presence and with like what she actually puts out there, she just doesn't miss. So
interesting.
Taylor's probably number one, honestly. Like
all time number one.
Because my first thought was going to like Aretha Franklin, right? Like pushing the boundaries. So like that's why like we said with Madonna, right? Like really pushing the edges and but yeah, I think Beyonce wasn't one I was initially thinking about, but that one actually makes a ton of sense. I would almost maybe argue she's number one.
And I'm thinking like I'm thinking like importance of like beyond just the music, I guess. Like Taylor and Beyonce are probably more important. Like Madonna is important, and she did, do some things that were like, really grandiose and like definitely had an impact, right? And like Britney, obviously, very important. But the impact that they make like on society writ large, Taylor and Beyonce probably are 1 and 2. I mean, and I could be because like Billie Holiday was like very important, right?
Right.
But like her impact on society, maybe not as big, and so like along with God, I'm gonna blank on her name, Tina Turner, Cher, like those people, like they're all important, but I don't know that they even like
Ella
Fitzgerald. And like we have, yes, like we have more people now than ever, but like the impact that like Taylor and Beyonce have is just maybe bigger.
Actually,
if
very
you would put,
appropriate.
like,
LeBron
Billie
versus MJ being
if you
Swift
put
versus Beyonce.
Billie Holiday and Aretha Franklin and Tina Turner in a society like today, like they didn't have the social media outreach
Mhm.
that Beyonce and Taylor Swift have. I
Yeah.
think especially Billie Holiday's impact would have been way bigger. You know what I mean? If
Mhm.
she could have had what they have to work with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The social media push. Like you could, I will never believe, and sorry about this, Terry, that BTS would be the global phenomena they are if not for social media. Like I
Oh,
love that
accurate.
they're a boy band. You know what I mean? I love what they do. But without social media, would they be as big as they are?
Mhm.
You know what? So, um,
Because we don't have time, can
yeah,
we talk? Can we talk the LeBron versus MJ next week?
of course.
For sure.
Wow.
Because
Wow. What a
I
time.
the worst thing I saw this week, if we want to get to that quick, was the I guess it's not bad for me because I don't like the Toronto Argonauts as a Hamilton Tiger Cats fan, but the Toronto Argonauts offense just imploded. 16-win regular season, only been done twice in CFL history, and both times that 16-win team lost in their respective division final, didn't even win a playoff game. So 9 turnovers total for the Argos. Now, it's funny
Jeez.
how the NFL doesn't count turnover on downs as turnovers, even though there's 4 downs, so there's even less of an
Mhm.
excuse to do it. But in the CFL, they do with only 3 downs. They really like push it to you. 4 of those were turnover on downs on 3rd and shorts that they just couldn't convert. But third and 1 is like almost automatic. It's like Jalen Hurts esque QB sneak. like it's maybe not even like actually that's even maybe more extreme. But like usually like teams on 3rd and 1 are like 80%. And
Mhm.
so it's almost automatic that you go for it. And just every time Montreal defense was there to stop them. And the first drive of the offense, things were looking great. The Argos, they started with the football. They were marching down the field, get to the red zone, pick 6. The all-star safety, Marc-Antoine Zuquois, which clearly from Quebec, playing for his hometown team, the Alouettes, runs it back for a pick 6, and Montreal never gave up the lead. They ended up winning, what was the final score? I don't remember. I just remember the 9 turnovers. Yeah, 38-17. So the Argos eventually scored late, but yeah, they didn't score their first touchdown until the 4th quarter. So Montreal just got up to such a huge lead, and now the Montreal Alouettes are off to the Grey Cup. Winnipeg beat BC. Maybe it wasn't quite game of the year. Their regular season game that went to overtime might have been a little bit more exciting, but it was still a fantastic match. And yeah, Winnipeg this will be their 4th Grey Cup in a row. And last team to do that was the Edmonton team that in the mid 70s, or yeah, I guess late 70s, early 80s, that went to 5 straight Grey Cups. But that's a team that after winning 2 straight titles, when Warren Moon went undrafted in the racist NFL because he was black and like he can't play quarterback, which is incredibly stupid, the Elks got, or I guess they were the Eskimos then, but Edmonton got him, and he won 3 straight Grey Cups with them. But they didn't have the same quarterback start all 5 because Warren Moon was just so amazing that they're like, yeah, even though this one dude just won his 2 Grey Cups, Warren Moon, you're the guy. And sure enough, he won them 3 more. And then the NFL was like, oh, okay, he can win. Wow, look at that. Imagine.
Who knew?
So Zach Collaros becomes the first quarterback ever to start in 4 straight Grey Cups as a quarterback. So this Edmonton team is probably the most dominant, like, short area period since that 5 straight Edmonton title. Again, back that I think ended 82. I think it went from like 78 to 82. So yeah, we'll see if they can win 3 out of 4 Grey Cups. They lost last year to the Argos, but to win 3 and 4 would be quite the amazing feat. So some pressure on them to like really cement themselves as one of the greatest teams ever, and for Collaros to really put the stamp that he is the best quarterback in the CFL. And he might retire after this year. Who knows? And go out on top. I don't know. He's on just a 1-year contract. He's been kind of going 1 year at a time, so he probably hasn't even given it a thought at this point. He's just focused on this. But it's hilarious. This is the 110th Grey Cup. And the Alouettes did fold at one point, so they weren't always a team. There's about a decade where they didn't exist. But the Montreal Alouettes and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in a league with only 9 teams have never met in the Grey Cup. So I found that to be quite interesting. And yeah, it's just whenever one has been good, the other hasn't. And I think that the story here is Winnipeg clearly is the better offense. They've got the best quarterback in the league. Their running back won Most Outstanding Canadian this year. He was a finalist for Most Outstanding Player as well at a 1500-yard rushing season.
What a title to have! Most Outstanding Canadian.
Yeah, they don't go MVP. It's most outstanding MOP or
Yeah.
MOC or MOOL because there's a
I
most
am the
outstanding
most
offensive
outstanding
lineman.
Canadian in all of Canada.
Yeah, or at least in the CFL. But
It doesn't say that.
I would even tell people that. I'd be like, I'm just the most outstanding
Canadian. No doubt.
yeah, there you go, Brady Oliveira. But anyway, so I think Winnipeg is the better offense, but both defenses are incredible. That might be the best thing we see this week is the defenses in the Grey Cup. As I mentioned, Marc-Antoine Duquois and Wesley Sutton. The Montreal defense this year held teams to it was something ridiculous, 4 yards per pass. And the league average is 10. It was insane how little efficiency teams had passing against them. And I think the secondary was a big reason why. 2 All-Stars again. So,
are you fluent in French?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Fluently
I think
bilingual.
next week he should do the show all in French.
Tight. Je sais pas si les gens vont aimer ça. But
Oui.
But then I would say the Blue Bombers have the best front seven and specifically the best defensive line. Willie Jefferson and Justin Jeffcoat. They're the defensive ends, and Willie Jefferson probably is still the best defensive end in the CFL. Matthew Betts led the league in sacks this year, was most outstanding defensive player. But Willie Jefferson, he's great at sacking quarterbacks. He also led the league in passes defended this year. It wasn't a defensive back that led the league in that. A defensive lineman led the league in passes defended with 13 knockdowns. Because if he doesn't get a sack, he's just reaching up and he can usually swat that ball down. So he is just unreal. I imagine Winnipeg's going to win because, again, they've got the better offense and the defenses can kind of equal itself out. One with the better front seven, one with the better secondary. Winnipeg's secondary isn't too shabby either. And honestly, Montreal's front seven is really good. But those are the real standout players there. So I'm going to be excited. I don't expect a super high scoring game, though. I think the defenses will kind of dominate for a lot of it. So it's which offense can get those key opportunities. Those couple of red zone trips have to end in touchdowns if you want to win. Because you're not probably going to get too many opportunities in the red zone. So take advantage. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if the American station will show the Grey Cup on Sunday, but unlike the other playoff games on Saturday, this one will be during NFL football. At least the Packers play at 1, so I won't have to miss it. Because there have been times when those games have crossed over, and that's been really unfortunate circumstances.
Yeesh.
Oh, look at that. The Ticats just got destroyed by the Bombers after throwing a pick, an interception on the opening drive, and then it was all downhill, and they had no chance. Okay, I'm going to watch the Packers. They're playing the 49ers. Oh, Rodgers just threw a pick. Oh, this is 30-0 all of a sudden. Why did I just have to watch 6 hours of this? This is depressing. That was awful. 2019, man. That was brutal. Anyway.
Shannon, do you have any parting words?
No, I got nothing. I got the Draymond Green thing off my chest.
Okay. Everyone, Jesse, Terry, Julia, is that NBA rigged? Julia, Gator, and Jamie. Thank you guys so much for talking in the chat. We appreciate you more than you know. You guys have a really, really good week. I'm going to go do lots and lots of drugs and sleep and sweat it out.
Not for the same reason, though.
I might do drugs too, but I hope you feel better.
Yeah, think about you, Gladys. Well, you tip-top shape for Monday night.
Who's playing Monday? Oh, it's the Chiefs and the.
We got to be on our best behavior.
Yeah, we have to. Oh man, and
you don't have to be. I'll try to be.
Well, everyone have a really, really good week, and we will see you next Saturday. I'm pretty sure Jesse has some amazing things on her Instagram account, so you guys should probably go look on that. We know that Shannon has crazy good shit on his Instagram account, so you should. What?
I said crazy more so.
Crazy good shit. It's all one thing, Shannon. So you should go check out Shannon's Instagram. And again, if you have any questions, obviously about the CFL, but if you have any questions about the NFL, I am dead serious here, people. Dead fucking serious. Go to Kyle and ask him. He'll have the answer. It doesn't even matter if it's like an obscure question from 1963 or 1945.
Oh yeah, the Browns' last championship year.
See?
Oh wait, was that the Bears? It's either 63 or 64.
Bears was 85.
Those are the years the Packers didn't win in the 60s.
So, and once again, we appreciate you for joining us on Saturday morning. I'm gonna have to go Maryland because I don't want Michigan to win this game, and I kind of do because I don't care.
That would be hilarious if Harbaugh. Yeah, if we can win without Harbaugh.
Exactly, they won last week without him. So, everyone, have a good week. Appreciate you. See ya next week. And Jamie,
That was
you
great
realize,
timing.
That was awesome.
yeah.
I always do it because it's going for 2, right? Like I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the peace out sign's appropriate for this.
Oh shit!
program.
Before we go, Kyle, where can they still do the link
Kids
for
toys.
the fun, the belt?
Yeah, I think it. I mean, I think it's still open till next Thursday. So yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
slots will fill up, but I mean, you can always still donate until
Donate Toys for Tots, baby.
until Thanksgiving. So
Yep. Donate
American
Toys for Tots. Jeff Lambert going for 2. Appreciate ya. Have a great